Tips for Sustainable Wealth every Friday 7 p.m. UTC by Fluffy and Alex. Today we have the oldest and the most famous Ethereum killer Cardano versus an expanding layer 2 Ethereum solution with the potential to become a layer 2 solution for most of the blockchains, a beast of its own, Polygon MATIC. Who is the best performer, what to choose for the long term, the most recent developments for both of them, and what we can expect in the future. To start, let's take a look at which token would make us more money holding through the years. If we compare both of them since May 2019, when Polygon MATIC became available to the general public, we can clearly see that the brown line vastly outperformed Cardano's performance, the blue line. This is also true for the last bull cycle. A quick look from December 2020 and onwards will reveal Polygon's tremendous performance. If we had invested $1,000 into Cardano in May of 2019, today we would have around $7,000 in our pockets. On the other hand, if we invested the same amount of money into Polygon for the same time period, today, my friends, we would have $50,000 to spend. Before moving forward, if you guys want to check another awesome crypto battle, just click at the suggested video at the right top corner. Now, fun with Tokenomics. What to choose for the long term and which project is undervalued or overvalued. It seems like Cardano is almost 4 times bigger with a market cap of $15.5 billion, as Polygon's valuation at this moment is around $4.1 billion. Cardano has 33.8 billion ADA tokens circulating. On the other hand, Polygon has 8 billion MATIC tokens out there. Maximum ADA tokens that can exist is 45 billion and 10 billion MATIC tokens comparatively, meaning that the majority of the supply is unlocked and circulating for both. The rest of the tokens that can come out to the market will be introduced very slowly through the years, meaning that potential sell pressure from new tokens is small. Inflation, as we can see on Cardano, is 1.95% per year and 5.59% per year for Polygon. This is very low for both. Polygon has a lot of projects that move to its chain, so the total value locked on Polygon is quite big and sits at around $1.6 billion. To dig deeper, we can see on DeFi Llama that there are more than 100 projects that are on Polygon and contribute to the total value locked. The biggest names we can see being Aave, QuickSwap, Curve, Uniswap, SushiSwap, and a lot more. On the other hand, Cardano has only 118 million total value locked, and all that with a much bigger market cap. What's interesting is that there are 12 projects on DeFi Llama and only 8 of those contribute to Cardano's TVL. Cardano definitely needs to up their game and attract more developers and projects if they want to stay in the competition, because we know that there are many ETH killer competitors out there targeting the spotlight of Cardano as well. All this leads us to market cap to TVL ratio, which is 131 for Cardano and makes it heavily overvalued based on TVL. 2.5 for Polygon is quite good, not undervalued or overvalued, but good. Price to sales ratio is 4,399 for Cardano and 374 for Polygon. Again, Polygon is at a much better spot here. Price to sales is basically how much money a protocol makes through fees. Cardano has $4.8 million annualized revenue, which is very low compared to its market cap, thus why it's overvalued on PS ratio. Polygon has a revenue of 13.7 million and is indeed at a much better spot. On the other hand, Cardano shines like a diamond when we compare the value of on-chain transactions. $7.2 billion were transferred on Cardano in a single day. Compare that to $72.6 million transferred in MATIC tokens, and we can see that Cardano is in a better spot. But don't forget that this is a transfer value only for MATIC tokens, not for all the transactions happening on Polygon. As it is logical to say, it should be a lot more, especially with more than 19,000 dApps on top of its chain. But let's work with what we have. Cardano has an NVT ratio of 2.15, which shows huge undervaluation, and Polygon with 56.6 is in a decent spot. For context, Bitcoin has an NVT ratio of around 30. So, what would I choose here for the long term? This might surprise you or not, but I do have a slight inclination towards Polygon. Why? Well, first of all, the token metrics look good on all ends. Yeah, Cardano might win at some points, but generally Polygon is doing pretty well. It has attracted a lot of projects to its chain. The technology is great. New developments are always in the pipeline, like for example the most recent one being Coinbase that integrated Polygon, a good development with Coca-Cola that should use Polygon for its NFT collection, and a collaboration with Nothing to add Web3 functionalities to smartphones. So Polygon has strong marketing and tries to be everywhere. One criticism that I consider worth mentioning is the centralized nature of Polygon, but this was known from the beginning, so you should exercise risk management accordingly. Other than that, there is the concern of Polygon becoming obsolete with Ethereum 2 when it comes out, basically. Many ask the question, what will happen to layer 2 solutions such as Polygon? I believe that because Polygon is scaling as well, currently investigating zero knowledge and optimistic rollups, it can become the layer 2 solution for many blockchains through the use of bridges that are being built. But other than that, Polygon can claim the use case of interoperability, as Ethereum 2 will not be interoperable, at least not from the start. Although Polygon can evolve to something bigger through time, for now it does heavily depend on Ethereum's performance, and bad news and developments for Ethereum will mean bad news for all Ethereum projects, including Polygon. I still see tremendous potential for Polygon, and there is a lot of room to grow, especially when the market cap is not that big for now. Imagine if Polygon could capture 10 or 20% of Ethereum's value. We would talk about an immediate increase of at least 5 times. Imagine if Ethereum grows as well. As for Cardano, it can definitely claim the title of the most developed project, and developers work non-stop on it. The problem that I see is that it moves way too slow through the years. We already saw how quick new competitors with great technologies pop up. Definitely when we read news that 400 new projects in a month built on Cardano, it is kinda reassuring, but my concern remains the same. Although we see work being done, it moves pretty slow, with problems of its own. Will it manage to come as a winner and more projects will start building on Cardano? Or will it take too long and lose its place as top Ethereum killer competitor? I don't know. If you are a believer, then place your bet. I definitely haven't written Cardano off, and I would invest some of my money in it. But I will diversify accordingly, as should you as well. Now, what are your thoughts, Fluffy?
That was a very comprehensive information and conclusions that actually can give us insights about the futures of the projects. But now let's have a short discussion, another type, about the current status of the projects. We saw that Cardano's on-chain transactions increased by 5.44% in June and reached $44.8 million, breaking the previous record of 42.5 on-chain transactions set in May. On-chain data also confirmed the increase of the transactions. Moving now more on the tech side. Principal technical architect of Cardano said it has been progressively becoming more decentralized and the community has been gaining more control over block production. IOG uses a set of metrics to measure decentralization on the network. For example, block production, what percentage of the network's nodes are run by the community, and many more. All these metrics are named the parameter. It is worth mentioning that the Vasil upgrade falls into the Basho scaling era of Cardano's development. The Basho era of Cardano is an era of optimization, improving the scalability and interoperability of the network, whereas previous development eras, such as Shelly, focused on decentralization and new functionality. Basho is about improving the underlying performance of the Cardano network to better support growth and adoption for applications with high transaction volume. Let's not forget that Vasil upgrade is the second Cardano scalability upgrade. Back in April 2022, block size increased by 10% from 80 kilobytes to 88 kilobytes after the crypto bear market arrived and recent events with 3 AC and Celsius, many projects' TVLs got suppressed, but the Cardano ecosystem, as it seems, remained intact and started growing again steadily. IOG is showing focus on delivering the scaling phase of the roadmap development activity, and the network has kept growing throughout June, to the point that its GitHub reached 13,000 commits ahead of the long-awaited Vasil hard fork. Pretty impressive, I would say, progress and commitment from the team. On the other hand, Polygon shows stronger signs of growth, as it looks to be supported by many exchanges. Now, Coinbase users will be able to send supported crypto assets on the Polygon sidechain network. The new feature simplifies the bridging process, often required when sending tokens across different networks. Polygon and Meta collaborate to improve Instagram user experience, create more monetization opportunities, and bring NFTs to a broader audience. Creators will now be able to use new technologies like NFTs to take more control over their work, their relationship with their fans, and how they can monetize. Meta looks at what creators are already doing in their social media platforms and use Polygon technologies in order to improve their experience. Adidas Originals and Prada, two international brands, brought to life a first-of-its-kind NFT collaboration. The project is set to bring together participants across fashion, design, and crypto to co-create large-scale digital artwork. Polygon has launched an uncapped fund to assist Terra projects willing to migrate to its chain. Financing of the fund will come from $450 million already raised by Polygon, its treasury, and $100 million ecosystem fund. Polygon is willing to deploy more capital for Terra projects, migrating if needed. The fund's launches come in the wake of the Terra community agreeing to plans for the new blockchain of Terra 2.0. We see that Polygon is doing a strategic move and trying to take over the projects that suffered from the Terra hit. Let's see how this is going to play out. As a final outcome, I would say that both projects are worthy opponents, but according to my humble opinion, I would choose first Cardano and then Polygon. Cardano has a slow but steady growth. It is well designed and carefully thought project, with good inflation and big circulating supply, so no surprises there. The team follows the roadmap and delivers. The ecosystem is growing and big names are behind the projects. Polygon is also a promising project and it looks like it is a bit ahead, but not for long, my guess. After all, I'm a Cardano marine, so I don't know how objective is my opinion. Also, Polygon has been accused in the past for not being decentralized, but has good partnerships and decent tokenomics. A happy ending is an ending of the plot of a work of fiction, which almost everything turns out to be the best for the main protagonists and their sidekicks, while the main villains, antagonists, are defeated. Me, Fluffy, a Cardano marine, report happy ending for Cardano. If you like the content, then like the content. Have a nice day, bye bye. Cheers, guys.